Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. It's that time of week again. It is time for the Wednesday midweek live stream show. The Wednesday midweek live. I had my phone on the Bluetooth and it played it. Let's try that again. As you can tell, we still learning the technological side of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday midweek live stream show. I'm your host, the professional idiot, Uncle Podsquatch. I hope everyone's having a wonderful week so far. Here's looking at you, motherfuckers. Cheers, and keep it real and keep it sexy. And really, it's going to be a fun, exciting show today. One, I'm slowly getting more comfortable with using all of the sort of equipment here and setting everything up. So that's very exciting, and that's a good time. And long story short, one second here, I'm just checking something here. No. It doesn't matter. There's other things that I still haven't figured out how to do. I was just seeing if I could figure that one out, but at least we are starting the show with the proper microphone going. Is my sound a little too loud, everybody? Is that too loud for you? Should I turn it down? Or is it just right? I don't know. But anyway, everybody, as we typically do, let's get back to the beginning of the chat here and say hello to everyone who has joined us so far. Let me pull this up here. There we go. Bear with me. There we go. Pull that down so I can see the chat. Live chat. There we are. All right, let's go back to the beginning here. What's happening, Happy Dude Grows? Good to see ya. I hope you're doing well and having a wonderful day. What's up, Soul Price? What's up, Clay S? What's happening, Irish Wanderer? What's happening, Aaron Costa? What's happening, Stephen the Robinson? How you doing? Good to see you, Greens and 373 Steel. Good to see ya. Ganja out of your mama. Ready and rocking and rolling in the house. Seamus McGillicuddy, good to see you, my friend. All right. Eugene Dolan, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Soul Price in the house. All right. All right. There we go. Ganja is like, we can turn it down at our house. All right. So then I'll turn it back up just ever so slightly. All right. All right, so let's see. I think we've said hi to everybody that's here. We don't have that many people in the show yet, so that's all completely all right. One of the things I've noticed with this new Streamlabs software is when I attempt to pre-program the show, I know it's being announced to a certain extent to people, but it doesn't seem to be doing the same way when we used to do it and host it directly through YouTube. That quite possibly could be something on my end, requiring me to learn further. But at the end of the day, it's going to be an exciting show in that we've got some sort of set topics we want to talk about, at least initially, and a couple of things I'd like to make an announcement about. Also, in terms of that, a number of you at home, and well, it's been going on for quite some time that you've been asking for this, and a lot of people have been asking, is it possible, can I tip you, can I do this? Well, I've always resisted it. I felt weird about that, but at the end of the day, it's not my place to say yay or nay on that. One of the other things, though, that I always had an issue with is that in terms of YouTube, how they did it, if we were to do it that way, they took like 30 or 40%, right? And it's like, YouTube, you're already greedy enough. You don't need to do that. So I had a big problem with that. But since we are now using Streamlabs, there is a way actually to tip now. And the great thing about that is if you do choose to do that, not required, but ever humbly appreciated whenever someone chooses to do so, 0% is taken by Streamlabs, funnily. So basically there is a link for that if anyone gives a shit. And there is the link there. I believe I've shared it. There we go. So really that's just how it works, and I figured out how that worked. So anyway, neither here nor there, but there are ways for people to do so if they'd like to do that. I'm going to see if I can switch this to live chat on the computer as well. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll. All right, so one of the things that we're going to talk about first today in the show before we kind of get into the nitty-gritty stuff about growing or answering questions is in Canada, there's been some interesting things happening in terms of sort of the government, the big companies and legalization. Some of you, I'm assuming, have seen the video we released a number of days ago. It was called, what was it called? The Dangers of Illicit Cannabis. Your government loves you. So basically that was in response to an announcement that was made by the BC provincial government. It was basically a load of malarkey and codswallop that was basically meant to discredit, defame, and vilify the true Canadian growers here in Canada. Why do I call them the true growers? Well, one, they're the people who've spent their lives learning how to grow, and they are your local dope person. They are the farmer down the street. But these people, by and large, aren't criminals. None of them are, even though the government would like to paint them as such. They are actually the people who truly care about the Canadian consumer, the Canadian pot lover, about the person at home, whether you are someone who uses for medical reasons or uses for recreational. The Canadian government, when they brought about legalization, didn't really listen to anyone in terms of the industry and what we really wanted. What they did was they made it legal for them and the rich. Nobody could actually afford to get into the game. So hypothetically, it's not hypothetically, one of the things that we are working towards as a company here at Podsquatch Growers is we would like to have a local small craft batch license. And we're also going to be doing micro nursery licenses. So our initial goal is to get 2 500 square foot micro nursery licenses. That's what's going to allow us to bring our genetics to market, as well as clones if we so choose. And we're also going to be doing local craft cannabis, legally, fresh farm to table with the new farm to table legislature that's coming in 2022. So basically this was launched as a smear campaign because basically the big companies can't hack it, man. About 4 years ago, a lot of us were telling them, like, if you don't allow us in, if you think you can just do whatever you want, you're going to lose a lot of money. And originally we got laughed out of that boardroom. Any of us who ever tried to say that to these big companies, they said, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. We can do whatever we want. We're going to be okay. We got this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what we know. And then here we are, 2.5 years into legalization. They've lost well over $167 million nationally in Canada. And the big companies, the big five, okay, are getting mad. They're getting mad because, one, the government's opening up regulation. They're opening up what is known as a craft license. We'll get into what that's going to cost to do in a minute. But the big five are purporting now, because of craft licensing in Canada and allowing the true Canadian farmers in, they can't sell anything. No one's buying their products anymore. One, there's not very many of us who are even in the craft circle yet because we can't afford to do it. The inflated costs are astonishing. However, they have then said, well, you got to go against and crack down on the ACMPR system, which is the medical license system in Canada. I will be the first to admit that, yes, the technical point of the system has been abused since it's always been there. Okay, but that wasn't necessarily done in a malicious sense or an evil way by Canadian growers. That was done because it was the only way forward. It was the only way for people to do their things and to bring low barrier access, affordable and safe cannabis to Canadian consumers. But basically, the big company are like, well, we can't hack it, man. We ain't selling, nobody buying our shitty weed, man. So you got to crack down on that. Now, first of all, majority of us have no wish to break any rules or regulations. We want to be part. We want an inclusive system. We want an inclusive industry where everyone's allowed to play ball. If in any other industry, if you're good at what you do, okay, if you're good at what you do, then you'll be just fine. That's where success comes from for a company. If you're a car maker and you make good cars, you'll sell cars. If you make baked goods and you make good baked goods, you'll do well if you do a good job. If you're a restaurant and you have wonderful cuisine, people will talk. People will show up. It'll be okay. But at the end of the day, for example, those 3 little licenses we talked about. So with the craft cannabis license, that would entitle us to as a company to have a maximum allowance of 2,300 square feet of flowering space for producing for market. For those of you who are struggling to kind of conceive that, that's basically a decent sized house. That's it. Like, it's not a lot of space. And then you look at these big companies and they've got, acres upon acres, sometimes hundreds of acres of plants, and they're allowed to do that. And for the one craft cannabis license, that's 2,300 square feet. For the 2 500 square foot, that's right, you heard me correctly, 500 square feet for one micro nursery license. That's the absolute maximum allowance of area for producing genetics or clones. Okay. Now, That is going to cost just for the legal fees and the application fees. So we're not talking land acquisition, we're not talking renovation, we're not talking infrastructure, we're not talking fuck all. We're literally talking about what it's going to cost between hiring a lawyer, paying for all the government bureaucratic crap. That's going to run you anywhere from $150,000 to $250,000. So really, realistically, up to almost $250,000, okay? And I know many of you at home are probably going like, wait, what? And it's exactly, like, so that's not even buying land. That's not even building a building. That's not even doing anything. Literally just the bureaucratic crap of trying to get a license. Now, the normal average grower can't afford that. The normal average citizen in Canada doesn't make anywhere near that kind of money. We live in a time where large banks and credit institutions will not lend money to any form of cannabis company. Why is that? Well, they're afraid. I mean, we're still living in a very puritanistic time where a lot of people are still struggling with the concept of cannabis as a legitimate industry. Now, mind you, if we had like $10 million in the bank, the big banks wouldn't give a shit. And they'd play ball with everybody. Oh, dude, I'm surrounded by plants right now. We just don't have the flower room set up. That'll be set up and going within the next week. It's almost done. We don't have our new lights in yet, but like, there's plants everywhere. I mean, you might not be able to see with my, see, there's plants there. I've got plants all back there. There's plants back there. We've got lots of plants. Don't worry. I've got a feeling, you know, there's been a number of people who've left the channel that are like, oh, he doesn't do plants anymore. Actually, yes, I do. I just haven't let you see them yet. Be patient. It'll come when I decide to let you see it. But anyway, at the end of the day, we definitely still grow here. It's called Pot Squatch Growers. I am a medical grower. I am a cancer survivor. I am still producing my own medicine, thank you. So it's going to be all right, everybody. So don't worry. The plants is coming. Plants is coming. The how-to videos is coming, okay? Just be patient. I'm really busy doing like 1,001 things all at once. And so Uncle Pot Squatch will get that up and running very soon. All right. From religion to agnostic, what's up to you at Pot Squatch Growers and Chat? All right, so let's go back here. I've got a feeling I've missed a few comments here. But at the end of the day, this leads me to my announcement. I would like to formally announce now, and this goes out to all Canadian growers, those who are medical growers for the personal use, those who've been called criminals by their government, those who have a little company that would be called gray zone, or even by some the black market. Oh! I'll call you what you are. You're growers, you're legitimate business people, you are good upstanding members of society and the country, and you have every goddamn right, okay, to be engaged in the industry. So today, this is the formal announcement. Uncle Pot Squatch has formed the Canadian Coalition of Craft Cannabis Growers. That's right. It's literally just, I mean, I thought of it yesterday, and, you know, big shout out to my dad, John March. Thank you for the idea of maybe starting a coalition as a way for us to band together and stand up for the rights of our people. And that's what we're doing, everybody. So there is actually a new email. Let me see if I can get that for everybody. And membership is open. There's 0 membership fees. Anyone can join as long as, I mean, there's going to be a sort of a set basic signed set of rules and respects for mutual respect between everybody standing together in this coalition. But the point of this coalition is to stand and oppose the current regulations and the current legalization that's being implemented by the government, okay? We want a fair, free market. We want an inclusive market, and a market that is not filled with inflated costs. At the end of the day, it's a fucking plant. Anyone in Canada, in my humble 2 cents, should, you know, everyone's legally allowed 4 plants. So let's say Timmy down the road, okay, little Timmy has 4 plants. Let's say little Timmy grows a bunch of weed with 4 plants. Let's say little Timmy has 6 pounds. Let's say little Timmy weed turned out pretty good. Little Timmy should be able to legally sell that to anyone Timmy wants to. It's a fucking plant, okay? I am totally for regulation and testing, so this is how it would work in my mind. Let's say there's a government set up testing facility, okay? Or a third-party company that's been set up, or a number of them, okay? You take your product down at harvest time. You go and get it tested. Once it's approved and it's okay, the government goes, all right, there ain't no heavy metals, there ain't no pesticides, there ain't nothing bad there, there ain't no fungal or bacterial crap or any of that shit. It's safe for human consumption. You should be able to then take that ticket and then sell it openly, sell it freely, sell it from your home, sell it from a store, sell it to a store. I don't give a shit. Go down to the flea market, go to the farmer's market, set up your stand and sell fresh farm-to-table cannabis. It is a bloody plant, ladies and gentlemen. So at the end of the day, you know, that's kind of the dream we have here. That's kind of the dream we have for the industry. At the end of the day, the government is trying to control everything, as they do. And the fact is, dear government, you probably are best to let us all into this industry and create a legalization that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, we want to work with you on this one. We want to work with the industry on this one. We want this. We aren't trying to fight you. We don't want to fight you on anything. But you got to play ball. You can't just do whatever you want and make whatever regulations you want. Okay? And at the end of the day, that's what the Canadian Coalition of Craft Cannabis Growers is going to be about. So basically that's open. Oh, right. I said I was going to try to find the email for everybody. So any Canadian watching at home who would like to join the coalition and stand together, you know, it's easy to cut one blade of grass, a lot harder to cut a bunch of them standing together, right? So that's kind of the ideology behind that one. Let me see if I can find the link for that. No, not the link, the email. Bear with me. I just made it earlier today. Okay, here. I got it. I'm going to type it now into the box here for everybody. Okay, wait, I'm gonna have to do it on my phone because Streamlabs is being weird, not letting me do it there. Okay, here. I think I'm gonna type this right, so bear with me here, everybody. I'm just trying to get this working. Here it is. So the Canadian Craft Growers Coalition at gmail.com. I think that's it, if I'm remembering correctly from reading the email. So at the end of the day, everyone, it's in its infantile stages at the moment. And I'm coming up with sort of a plethora of, you know, anyone who jumps on board right away, you can help me come up with our mission statement, come up with our credo, come up with all of our ideas. It's going to be an inclusive, equal representation opportunity for everyone to work together on that, okay? And at the end of the day, that's kind of our dream on this one, right? It's not that we're looking to fight the government, but we are going to fight for our rights. And we're going to fight for an inclusive, open industry. Okay? Okay. There's the announcement. Announcement done. Let's get back to the normal show. And just to reiterate for everyone out there, don't worry. We still grow plants. This isn't just a podcast. It's just what we're doing now. We've got plants literally surrounding us on stage right now. All my little babies are watching Daddy do the show. And we'll be back up and running with that one very soon. All right, so here we go. 1 second here. Let's see here, everybody. Yes, exactly, Dr. Potness. You know, that's one of the things with the coalition. We'll actually start doing research. We'll start actually, you know, incorporating. We'll get doctors on board. We'll get companies on board. We'll get everyone on board and create a coalition across the country, fighting for all of the proper things that in many of our minds we see for legalization and how it should bloody work. Okay. 1 second here. I'm just trying to make sure I'm reading everyone's comments here. All right. Kush King, this is different. Yeah, a little bit, eh? I don't know if you mean the show or what I'm talking about, but hey, it's a bit of both. So yeah, I'm surrounded by plants, everybody. We're okay. There's going to be more growing. All right. So everyone who's joined the show there, though, welcome to the show. Much love. Thank you for joining us. And everything is funky. Yeah, you know, and at the end of the day, Glenn Wells, totally, right? You could do so many different things with it. Can American growers join your coalition? I mean, well, technically, the coalition's direct initial thing is for Canada. However, yeah, I mean, if Americans want to join, I would say that's probably okay in my humble 2 cents, because the last time I checked, you guys don't have federal legalization yet. Okay, you don't. I know you don't. But at the same time, you have the same rights as we do. And you know what? Hey, Americans and Canadians, we're basically cousins of each other. We're very similar. And something tells me that much of our people in the States want the same things for their own industry. So I don't necessarily see an issue with that. You know, I personally, at least for me personally as a Canadian, as the person starting this coalition, I would be more than honored and happy to stand with Americans as well for getting the same bloody rights that we're fighting for here in Canada. All right. One second here, everybody. I'm just trying to play catch up now on all the messages. What's happening, Red Claws? Good to see you, buddy. What's up, Visible Farms? Good to see you. Anyone else who I may have missed saying hello to, hello and rock and roll. Okay. Okay, I believe I'm almost caught up. I'm almost caught up. I agree. Roman Reckless, it should be treated like a produce, because it basically is, in my humble 2 cents. Oh, it's Indica's like, make it worldwide Canadian growers. Like, all right, everyone, who wants to be Canadian? Let's just make the world Canada. You want to do that? All right, we could do that, I guess, maybe. All right. But there is an email for that. What's happening, Canopy Crawler? Good to see you, my friend. Kush King, yous are all born from Britain. No, we're not, man. Actually, the first people in Canada were Indigenous. I myself even am not just British. There is English in me, but there's other things too. But anyway, we'll leave it at that. I am not Brit. I am a Canadian. Anyway, Canadian Craft Growers Coalition, awesome. Nicole, do you want to do me a quick favor? Could you send me an email to that email that we're sharing right there, just to make sure that email is actually working and I've typed it right? And if it does, it will be wonderful. Electro Illuminati says, don't Canadians speak some weird French version of English? No. We are a dual language country. We speak both English and French. Many Canadians only speak English. Many Canadians typically speak mostly French. But yes, we have 2 national languages in our country, French and English. And that is just a true fact there. All right. So anyway, everybody, let's get back to the bloody show. So everyone has been freaking out like, where are the plants, motherfucker? Where are the plants? It's all right. It's going to be okay. The plants are here. They're growing. We've got some giant plants going right now. Strains that we've got on deck for you that are already living, breathing, and loving. We've got BC Big Bud coming for you. We got our Hindu Kush come back again. Big shout out to Glenn Wells and friends who helped me keep that one alive when we had to euthanize everyone at our last laboratory. We've got a Blue Cheese Afghani cross. We've got Bruce Banner coming for you. We've also got Blueberry Indica as well, and Pink Kush as well. And then obviously, for those of you who got to see the last show, we've got a bunch of wonderful fun new genetics from our brother Gav over in New Zealand, over in the Shire, over in Hobbiton. Sorry, I'm just having fun with that one. That have been sent in there. For those genetics, we've got... excuse me, I inhaled a little spit there. We've got a strain that Gazzers is named Gazzers Madness, which is K-Town Kush, which is one of his inventions, crossed with AK-47. We've got K-Town Kush crossed by cheese. Oh, Yakatungato. I'm saying that so wrong. It's a name, it's a local occurring strain in New Zealand. It's a Sat Dom. I can't say the name properly. I'm still working on the phonetics of that one. And that one's been crossed with Canadian White Russian. We've also, Gazzers has sent us a very special treat, which is some orange Hindu Kush, legitimately from India. And we're going to be searching for a nice breeding buck with that one, because one of the things I'm going to be doing for our genetics brand and developing things is I want to take my Hindu Kush, which is the old school Hindu Kush we all remember here in BC and in Canada from back in the hood days, and I'm going to make it have sex with that orange Hindu Kush from India, and it's going to be good. It's going to be like this new age version of Hindu. It's going to be the Hindu for the next ages to come, and that's going to be a fun breeding program. So we got a lot of that shit to play with, and it's going to be a good time. Hell, you know what? Maybe we should take that K-Town Kush by cheese and take that blue cheese Afghani cross and make them fuck, and then see what happens, because there's cheese on both sides on that one. What? It'll be cool. All right. I do it a lot, especially when I start talking in the show. I produce a lot of saliva, and then I inhale it, and it's not good. It hurts sometimes. Ganjanana your mama. That is more of like a zombie looking thing. So pretty much anytime someone sends a tip, anytime someone subscribes, anytime someone joins a membership, I guess I've got a little, I guess it's called a widget on Streamlabs. It's like an announcement thing, and it announces when these things happen. But yes, for those of you wondering too, why doesn't this ever work properly? Bear with me here, everybody. Oh, I gotta do this, and then I do this. So for those of you at home who have always been like, hey, will you let us donate? Can we do something like that? There's the link there now. It does work. I figured out how to do it. I'm very proud of myself. So if you click that, you can just do that. Oh, totally will do Visible Farms. We can chat. Hell, even after the show today, Pilger, I'll have some time that we can talk. So, hey, thank you, Rainbow Corn 69. You know, we're working on it. I'm trying to learn how to do all this stuff, and I'm slowly but surely learning. It's coming together. One second here, everybody. Tony Clifton, is it a CBD cheese? Not the ones that we have, but I do have a CBD strain. Well, not many. I have a few of them. One of my own strains that I spent many years developing, I actually developed for my sister's MS, and she refuses to try it. Thanks, Rachel! Bitch. Just joking. I love you, Rachel. But that one is a high CBD strain, but also has THC present into it, because I personally have always found that CBD and THC make much better friends than working on their own. But yeah. Hashtag boom, baby. Anyway, but I'm just checking in on these messages. Yeah, we're good. All right. So yeah, for those of you who want to try that tip function out, it works, I think, from what I can tell. And the cool thing about Streamlabs is they don't take any of that. 100% of those proceeds will go to the channel and helping us keep the lights on and keeping everything running. So basically, what do we have coming up this week to expect that'll be fun? I'm going to be making a video showing the plants that we have that'll be going in for the first section of the flowering room. Today after the show, I will finish painting and top coating the flowering room. We have gone with a latex-based semi-gloss white, and then we're putting on a very reflective, super duper outdoor-indoor top coat. Fun fact about the top coat we're using, there's actually an artist who creates a bunch of Sasquatch statues locally here, and this is the exact top coat he uses on all the Sasquatch statues around town. So we'll be using the same top coat as that in the flowering room. Once we get that all set up, we will arguably have one of the brightest little flowering rooms you will ever see on YouTube. I might even need to start wearing sunglasses. It's gonna be real. But we're getting it going, and it's gonna be great. So this week, we're gonna go through the plants that we have that'll be going in first. I will make you a video on cleaning up the plants and doing a little bit of training on the plants and showing you, everything we're gonna do to get them ready for both one transplant, and then after transplant, we'll probably move them in, maybe give them a few weeks, not a few weeks, 1 week maximum. They don't need much time with my growing style. 3 to 7 days to adjust to their new homes. Realistically, I'm thinking for the first runs for fun and also just getting used to the new kind of grow space and the sort of limited height on the ceiling because I can touch the roof in there with my head. We're going to put them into 5-gallon pots to start on that one. So we'll be transplanting. Most of them are either in 2 gallons or 1-gallon pots right now, so we'll be doing that. So we'll release a video on cleaning up the plants, lollipop of the plants, maybe we'll do some topping, whatever training or pruning we will do, we will share that in the video for everybody, and then we're going to throw those ladies back in there. So really start to see flowering updates really launching in the next week and a half, and that's going to be going for everybody. And once it starts, once the fun stops, once the top pops, the fun don't stop. That old Pringles commercial is what I was trying to do there. You will be getting weekly updates on the perpetual flowering room in perpetuity going forward now. I'm going to do my best to do a little bit of rotation in there sometimes, so nobody's waiting too long for that. So that'll be fun. Roman Reckless, there is no tip button. You have to actually click a link for it, as far as I've been able to tell. 1 second here. If you click this link, that's how you do it. I have yet to figure out if there's a way for me to put a button in the show to do that. I couldn't figure that out, but I have figured out the other way of doing it. So if you click that link that I've just shared there, my friend, that's how you would do that one for your reference. Tony Clifton says, the future looks bright. Oh, it looks bright. Everything's looking up, my friends. We're doing a lot of really interesting stuff. Another fun video that's going to be coming out. Our friends at the company Fat Beaver, that's right, big shout out to my boys at Fat Beaver, have developed a very interesting product. It is a product unlike which any of its kind have ever truly existed. What if I were to tell you there's been a product developed that allows you to empower your weed? What does that mean? Well, unlock the potential of the genome of your plant. What if I told you that from what we can tell, pretty much every cannabis has a latent ability? It can eat bugs. You heard me right. We have actually, well, Fat Beaver has done it. I'm helping them work on implementation development, and also we are attempting to incorporate it into our breeding now, as well as producing clones that can eat bugs. So that's right, we're basically teaching the plant to defend itself, right? No more sprays for killing the bugs, no more pesticides, no nothing. There's a way for us to unlock the power of the genome of the cannabis plant. That's right, and teach it to eat bugs, basically. It will protect itself. So that's what this new product does. We will be doing tests on it to see how well it works on the channel upcoming. We're going to do a video series on that one following it. And then we are working on developing with Fat Beaver. We're going to even have a dedicated tent for the experiments we're doing with their products. And one of our end goals between our two companies is actually to develop pest-resistant or pest-resilient or pest-eating, call it what you will, both seeds and clones. Very exciting, brand new technology, new conceptual idea, and if it works as well as I'm hoping it will continue to do so, then this is a game changer, everyone. This is like a breakthrough, the likes of which none of us have ever seen in terms of cannabis. And it's an all-natural product. It's not chemical-based. You can drink the shit. It's pretty cool. They first developed the initial version of this product years ago when there was an attack down in the coffee plantations. I believe it was Central America, but again, I could be wrong on that. But basically there was these types of beetles that were attacking coffee, and they basically threatened the decimation of coffee from that area of the world. I personally drink a lot of coffee, so that is a very scary concept, right? So this product was first initially developed for them and for coffee, and for saving the coffee plantations down there, and it was beyond successful. And that is then what's led to it being further updated and developed and kind of tweaked and geared towards cannabis. So that's something we're gonna be doing with this product and let's see how well does it really work. It also seemingly so far shows to both increase plant vigor, your plants produce more, they eat more food, and like I said, they fuck bugs up on their own. No more pesticides, baby. And if it works for weed, hell, imagine if we could make it work for a bunch of other stuff too. Pest-resistant crops. Anyway, it started with coffee, we're doing it with weed now, and then from there, who knows where it'll go. But that'll be some extremely fun things for everyone to check out in times to come. One second here. I'm just reading here. This is not an Amish hat. This is a blues player, Texas Gambler hat. Thank you very much. This is not an Amish hat. Hey, everybody, Taser Ray, the mad scientist behind Fat Beaver, the Beef himself, is in the show. Everyone say hi to Taser. Taser is the mad scientist behind this breakthrough, and it's pretty cool. Thank you for joining the show, Taze. I figured we spent a little bit of time letting everybody know that we're going to be doing that product testing, that product showing, that product development and experimentation with your guys' products on the channel, and that'll be one fun thing to check out. No, I know you're kidding, Timmer. I'm just having fun, buddy. You know me, baby. I gotta have fun somehow, right? Oh, Ray. Oh, well, I definitely would say Opticon Veritas that I definitely am a rambler. I mean, have you ever seen one of my shows? My God, does the man breathe? And, you know, occasionally I'll gamble, but not necessarily with my money, just with my life. All right. I'm just reading everyone's messages. Bear with me. Hey, thank you very much, Paper Scratcher. Yeah, so hey, and Taser, maybe we should have you on the show one of these days. We'll bring you on the show, and you can share everyone a bit of the story behind your product. Maybe you can share a bit of the origin story of how you first started to play with the technology, and then hell, we'll get some of the story on how it kind of then went from the coffee world to the cannabis world and kind of all the stuff you're doing now. That'd be really cool. Tipper, that's funny. Gotta know when to clone them. No, anyway. Good times. So for everyone who does not know, we do have that Discord server as well. And that Discord server there is been set up by Soul Price. I'm on there sometimes. Well, I'm always aware of the Discord. But it's a place, if you're not on Facebook and you want to come be part of the community, and you want to participate, you want to hang out with like-minded people who love weed titties, come check out the Discord. It's a place for all people. Yeah, Soul Price, the numbers will grow again. We used to get up to 160 people in this show at times. Well, that happened a couple of times. But I do believe we'll get back there. We've been really absentee in terms of growing or doing anything for so long now. It'll just take us a little while to get, the numbers back. But we'll get there. The loyal, hardcore pot squatches have never left. You all still be here, So here looking at all you pot squatches, and I love you, and I appreciate both the loyalty and the patience. Probably the thing I appreciate the most is your patience with my ass trying to get everything back together. But we pulled it off and we're doing all right. Tony Clifton, does Discord have a paywall? Huh? What does that mean? I'm sorry, Tony Clifton. I'm not sure what a paywall means. Forgive my ignorance if that's a thing I'm just not knowing the thing for. If you're meaning do you have to pay for Discord? No, it is completely a free app and you are good to go. We try to make everything we do in terms of all the shows, all the content, that's all free. You're always welcome to pay for a membership if you'd like to help us keep the lights on or make donations to the channel and to what we're trying to do. But at the same time, that's never required. Knowledge is free, and as it should be. Information deserves to be free. So there we go. Like a subscription. No, you just download the app and you set up your account, you come hang out, and everyone's all like, hey, what's up? And yeah. Jason Ward says, glad to see you're back at it, brother. Awesome grow content. Much love from Oklahoma City. Well, thank you very much, Jason Ward. It's good to be back, and hello back down to Oklahoma City. I hope you're all doing well down there. That's right, Derek Cloud. We're back, and we're back with a vengeance. They tried to destroy us, but they could not. And now we are on to bigger and better things. And we're going to get it going again. I'm really excited to really do some of the next runs too. It's driven me up the wall a little bit, not being able to grow. It's something I really quite struggled with. When you're used to taking care of your plants every day, it's such a holistic and therapeutic thing. It really becomes part of your life. And when you ain't got no babies growing, it's just you're lonely, man. Your wife goes to work, you work from home, you ain't got no plants. It just sucks, man. So I'm excited to get that going back and keeping it real. Yes, that's my understanding of it as well, Electro Illuminati. Soul Price is definitely the one who knows vastly more than I in terms of the ins and outs of how Discord works. I'm doing my best to keep up with all these different new things. Just wait till very soon. We're going to be going live on Facebook as well while we're doing these YouTube shows. So we're going to be both live on YouTube. We're going to be live on Facebook. I think there's a way for us to go live as well on Instagram. I've just got to do some weird plug-in thing to Streamlabs, and then it will be able to interface to Instagram, to my understanding, and we'll figure it out. Well, you're a lucky man, James Leach. I never got a chance to do that. Ganchanada, your mama says, I want to see more of you. What does that mean, Ganchanada, your mama? That's naughty. Yeah, no, that's right, we're back, baby. And you thought we were wee titty last time. Wait till you see the wee titties this time, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, this week, today's homework is I'm going to be getting the flowering room, basically all the walls done and all of that jazz done. And then tomorrow I'll sit down and start making that video for everybody where we show what we're going to be doing. We'll give you an interview, quote unquote, with all the plants. AK, we'll just probably show them off. Maybe one or two of them will talk. I mean, that's one of the things I missed from the videos, is making the weed plants talk. That was always a lot of fun for me. And we're going to show you kind of the training, the pruning, the what, or whatever you want to say, that we'll be doing to get these ready for transplant. We'll transplant, give them 3 to 7 days, and then boom, 12-12, baby. If we don't have our new lights in yet, I'm going to hang some of the old lights in there for now. We'll start the flowering window with the old lights, the Mark 1s, the origin story systems of our little brand, and then we'll be bringing in some new lights. We're going to be bringing in another X4 double squatch, probably mount that one in the middle of the room, and then I'm bringing in 2 of our new racks with the new strips with the new far reds in there and stuff, and it's going to be funky. Get that all going in there, you know what I'm saying? But it'll be a good time. Well, you know, Jason Wood, I mean, that's something I really appreciate. You know, Robin Williams is certainly my favorite. And, you know, when people make that comparison, my God, it makes me giddy inside. So thank you, Jason. You know how to butter me up, don't you? Oh, man. Oh, he's good. But he's good. Thank you very much. You know what I'm saying? But it's good to be back, everybody. Like, hell, I missed all of you. I missed doing what we do. I missed our wonderful hangouts. I missed all the teaching we did. I missed making how-to videos and experimentations. You know, I've almost got everything sort of set up down here now where we're going to be able to start even just, you know, not only running the flower room perpetually, we're going to have tent experiments, we're going to have breeding experiments, we're going to be doing all types of experiments and new things and exploratory pieces for everyone at home. So that's going to be a good time, and I'm really looking forward to that. And, you know, at the end of the day, what's the announcement? Am I becoming a papa? No. Miraculix, I don't want kids. Neither does my wife. Mrs. Potsquatch and I do not intend to have children. I got far too much to do in my life. And, you know, to quote Eminem, I'm going to treat this group like my daughter, then raise it. You know, I'm just going to keep my time open to do all the hard work I have to do for all of you around the world and the cannabis community. That's why, you know, I've always called myself Uncle Potsquatch. I'll just be everybody's uncle or something. It'll be good. No, the announcement is we have started the Canadian Craft Cannabis Coalition, or Craft Cannabis. Like, it's a working title, everybody, but there's an email. Nicole has shared it to there. Coalition of Canadian Craft Growers Coalition. Or, no, that's wrong. That's totally got too many coalitions in it. Is that what I said before? My God, I'm redundant. Let me read the actual email. Canadian Craft Growers Coalition, all one word, @gmail.com. It is a new coalition that we are, so the test email did work. Perfect, awesome, thank you, Nicole, by the way. We have started the Canadian Craft Coalition, or Craft Growers Coalition, to stand together and unify, to fight for a free market, to fight for an open market, to fight for an inclusive market, for a market that allows anyone into it. Anyone who grows, I mean, at the end of the day, big companies, you shouldn't be afraid. Well, actually, you should, because obviously you can't even, you know, steal your pot now. But if you're good at what you do, then you'll be successful, right? Like, I mean, but we, the Canadian farmers, we, the Canadian growers, who fought and stood and voted in for this legalization, got completely fucked over and priced out of our own market and kicked to the curb. So it's a way for us to stand up to the government and stand together, and hopefully we will be able to get our place, or quote unquote day in the sun. You know, we're not saying there can't be a quote unquote Molson or Labatt's of cannabis. Most of us have no desire to be that. But we would like to be our little farmer selves. We would like to produce what we do and kind of go that way. So we're just developing everything. Currently right now, there's one member in the coalition, Uncle Potsquatch. It's an army of one right now. But, you know, basically all you got to do is send in an email for initial registration and the membership. I will be creating a mailing list. And then we'll start doing, you know, weekly or at least a monthly meeting, and we can start having agendas and coming up with a plan, an idea. You know, we could bring doctors in. We can do all wonderful sorts of things and really, hopefully, be able to achieve some of our goals. And create an inclusive market that we are allowed to be in, rather than being priced out, tossed to the side, and then painted as criminals by the government. They seem to like to do that recently, so fuck them. But yeah. Aaron Costa, I would not say that Molson Canadian is a gold standard in Canada. I'd say pretty much almost every Canadian I know hates Molson. Molson Canadian blows as a beer. I have one friend who loves it. Johnny DeConqueroo, our brother, who's also our computer tech, he loves his Molson. He drinks a lot of Molson Canadian, and that's his favorite beer, and power to him. But I would not describe Molson Canadian as a Canadian gold standard of beer. All right. So anyway, hey, no worries, Soul. You're all good, buddy. But yeah, so that was the announcement that we were making today there, and that's at, I believe it was Miraculix. Typhoid, natural light will never do you wrong. Oh, that's true. But again, Typhoid, at the end of the day, I'm an indoor guy, so synthetic lighting systems is always my way. I love that indoor growing. That's kind of my thing. But Aaron Costa, you don't drink. Hey, power to you. A lot of pot squatches don't drink. A lot of the people in the cannabis community don't drink. I just personally do. But yes, I think a lot of people have been stressed out that we haven't had plants going, that we're not releasing grow videos or anything like that. And we will be. It just takes time, everybody. It takes time. Basically, we were on the verge of losing everything and being completely fucked. But we pulled it off, and now we have a new house and a new place to do what we do and to be safe, and a lot more space to create content for everybody. So we're just slowly but surely getting everything going, and it'll be fun. Oh, I agree with you, Aaron Costa. Different forms of malted beverages have been around for thousands of years. Hell, the Egyptians even had liquor. Man, it's a good time. I come from a long line of beer drinkers. Beer and whiskey is my happy place. Well, I like weed too, obviously, but you might all not be too shocked to find that one out. So, Sam Backwell says, yeah, but not even a seedling or lights up or nothing like. Sam, I'm surrounded by plants right now. I've got Hindu Kush there, Hindu Kush there, Hindu Kush there. There's BC Big Bud over there. We've got Blue Cheese Afghani Cross over there. I've got Pink Kush going. Dude, I've got a lot of weed plants going right now. Well within our fucking counterfeit license for everyone at home who was wondering. But no, we're good. We got plants. I just haven't shown them to you yet. You'll get to see them when I let you see them. Patience is a virtue. it's my teething way to show you all the lesson of patience is a virtue for a grower. Good things come to those who wait. Nicole Lendman, if we didn't get the dislikes occasionally that we do, something's wrong. I'd be like, oh no, they died. Are you okay? Why aren't you hating on me? Hell yeah, Happy Grower. Which strip did you go with? Hey, Aaron Costa, you found After Hours and watched that, right? It's creepy, isn't it? You want to know how you know it's me? You look at my eyes. The eyes are always the same on me, right? So if you look at my eyes, you can tell it's me in that short film. But it is weird, right? I had hair, and I had hair. I didn't have a beard. It was like, what the heck? Oh shit, we shot that a long time ago. When did I bloody shoot that? I shot After Hours shortly after I left my first marriage and came back to Canada from living in Germany and Holland. Shoot. How long ago did we shoot that? Quite some time, at least. But yeah, I'm glad you got a chance to see it. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. It was a fun little short film that we did. Written by and produced by Michael Guba, who's, as you know him on the channel, Uncle Michael, and one of the owners of our company here at Pot Squatch Growers. It was a good time. That movie was actually supposed to be a feature-length film. There is like a feature-length version of that script that's a lot darker than what we shot. In that film, my character actually becomes a vigilante who goes after like drunk drivers and road crime, and like gets like hardcore, kind of like Punisher style almost, except if anything, almost darker. So the original version of that movie was a feature, and it was quite dark, and my character got to fuck some shit up savagely. That wasn't the version that we shot, and we shot a small micro condensed version of it that was a lot more less dark, let's say. But who knows? Maybe one day we'll get to do that. This is a production company calling me right now because they want me to be on set in a few days. Depends on, tomorrow actually. It depends on where they're shooting, and they gotta meet my day rate. That's totally off topic and not, we don't need to talk about that here on the show. Sorry, that was just a call coming through on my phone. But yeah, 1 second here. Let me try to read here. Oh, that's true. I'd like that, Taser Ray. We should definitely do that. That would be very cool. And that would be fun to kind of go into as a fun experimental piece for sure. You are definitely not a clone. Man, yeah. Man, I don't even know if you could clone my ass. It just might not work. I might be like a liger or something. It's just like, it's sterile. You can't replicate it anymore. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can clone a liger, but I do believe that they can't breed. But it was a joke. Anyway, not that good of a joke, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, long story short, for those of you who would like to see a short film from many years ago that I was in, it was Uncle Michael's first ever written piece and produced piece that he did. There was parts of it I really liked. I would have vastly preferred for us to do the much darker version of it. It was cool. It would have been fun. But we did what we did with it. But go find, what was it? What is that YouTube called that I have that I hide things on? Well, I don't hide it. It's just nobody watches it. I think it might even be called Josh D. Fletcher or some shit. I don't know. I should probably find a link to it and I could just share it for everybody to watch. That'd be interesting, right? But if you're high and you're stoned at home and if you're curious and you want to check it out, that is up there. And that was actually how I met Uncle Michael years ago too, and we became friends. Yes, Soul Price. I'm pretty sure I can schedule a time for us to have a moderator meeting in the Discord. Friday night, I am busy. I am going to a private show where my friend's band is playing at their house. But I'm sure we can book something in this weekend. So send me a message after the show, Soul Price, so we could talk about that. Julio from Denver. Have you ever heard of Ethos Genetics? Producing seeds and flower without any Hermes or males. Julio from Denver, sometimes that happens in general. I'm not going to make any statement to Ethos. I'll just talk about cannabis in general. Sometimes you'll never see it. I won't lie to you. My theory always with that has been that there is always some mild form of nanner. Male glands that come from stress or hermiaing can exhibit in a bunch of different ways on a plant. It could even just be this one little one that shoots out briefly overnight and then it flakes off and falls away and you never see it. But yes, this is a common thing that many people have witnessed. I've witnessed it over the years. Typically, it's called the gift seed is what I've always called it. Sometimes you'll get 1 to 3, maybe 4 random seeds in a bud. There was no males that you had. You didn't see any glands. You even went through the whole bloody plant, couldn't find any. But you did get a couple of seeds. That is common. It does happen. If anything, I'd say it's probably more common now than it was 15 to 20 years ago. But I've always called those ones the gift seed. Who here watching right now remembers Frankenplant? Who remembers Frankenplant? Anyone remember Frankenplant from the old lab? Well, Frankenplant on one bud. There was no glands on Frankenplant, nothing like that. On one bud, in this one bud on Frankenplant, I found 4 of the biggest, hardest, darkest seeds I've seen in a long time. And I called them, I've even got it in my genetic vault, labeled as the 4 daughters or the 4 sisters of Frankenplant. So Frankenplant produced 4 random dark hard seeds. There was no herming, no males, nothing like that. Just happened. And it was all on just this one bud too. It was absolutely hysterical. So at the end of the day, I call them the four daughters, the 4 sisters of Frankenplant. So one of those days, we should grow one of those ladies out and see what it does. Because I've always been curious what what those 4 seeds will do. It'd be almost interesting to see what all 4 do at once, and then compare and contrast what came from Frankenplant's daughters. Dun, dun, dun. But the Frankenplant was definitely cool. It was definitely probably one of the coolest ones that we had out of those. We had some interesting weird genetics. So for those of you who don't remember, Frankenplant was one phenotype of a number of phenos that we had of a Bubba Cherry Firefly cross. So Bubba Cherry was crossed with Firefly. Firefly came from Jinx Proof Genetics. It was produced by Nancy Budwell, who is a sexy weed growing grandma from the States. And me and Nancy, for a while, at least, used to be friends. I think we're still friends on Facebook. We don't really talk ever anymore. But so she sent me some of these seeds to try out. And so Frankenplant actually was this one very different, very weird, but wonderful phenotype that came out of that Bubba Cherry Firefly cross. And Frankenplant had 4 daughters. This one bud produced just these 4 random dark hard seeds, 0 glands, no males. But here we are with these 4 beautiful seeds that we named the 4 daughters, the 4 sisters of Frankenplant. Chris McGarry, I smoked a lot, but I'm pretty sure I remember that. Right? Electro-Illuminati, I always call those the gift seed or the gift seeds. You'll get 1 to 4 max. I was shocked when I found 4 of them in Frankenplant. I was just like, what? Right? Semelon Sieta, right? Well, it would have to be. But, the weird thing was we didn't really see any glands or anything like that. But like I said, sometimes you can even just have a tiny little weird, not even quite a nanner. It's just a little thing that'll stick out. It'll just a little bit of pollen and then it falls off. You'll never see it. Maybe it gets blown off once it dries up after it releases from your fans. I mean, these things can happen and you may never see it and you can never necessarily explain it, but it's part of the fun and the magical mystery tour of growing cannabis. Yes, Tony Clifton, I can definitely. Stem torture technique. Well, I believe you're talking about the microagitation technique. So the microagitation technique, the concept behind that one is actually the opposite of stem torture. It's based out of the basic theory of causing certain damages to your plant can create or trigger the plant's self-defense mechanism to defend itself, thus helping it to trach out further and have higher cannabinoid levels. So a lot of people will, in the last week or two, they'll stick a big nail or a big spike through the bottom of their cannabis plant. Sometimes people will snap limbs and knuckle them and do all these other things. Many call that super cropping. I always struggled with the idea of putting a giant spike through my plant. I didn't like it. It was opening it up to pathogenic issues, and I don't know. I always struggled with believing that one was worth it. But I was like, well, but it does do these wonderful things, so there's got to be a way. Me and my friend Christina, actually, who was the one who bred and came up with that strain Gorilla Blue that we ran on the channel for quite some time, or at least ran it once. And, 1 second, I just got to plug my throat in here. One second here. Okay. So, the premise behind that one, so Christina came up with the basic idea of it, and then she did a mild testing on it and sent me pictures, so I started fucking around with it and testing it. So the premise is you take a little needle and you're just going to pinprick the skin of the arm of your cannabis. So let's say here's your branch, this is a branch, this is a branch, right? And so instead of going through our bottom stalk and putting a giant thing through our stalk, we're going to sit there and we're going to gently stab, not right through, we're just piercing the skin, okay? Just piercing that cellulose level there into the interior a little bit and pinpricking up on all of these branches on the plant, okay? And this is going to trigger the self-defense mechanism rather than, and it's better in my opinion because it works just as effectively as spiking the bottom part of your plant in the last week, but it can be used throughout the flowering cycle. So actually it's superior in that way. Plus, Since we're only doing these micro agitations or micro little pricks, the plant will quickly heal itself over, kind of like a tattoo in a sense, but it won't leave itself open to a bunch of pathogenic issues or other things sort of getting in there and fucking it up. And it has proven by anyone who's tried it to actually work. And it's astonishing. A lot of people will do it on a couple branches of a plant and compare and contrast it to other branches. It does cause your plant to trike out quite heavily compared to a branch where you do not use it. But yeah, so the basic premise behind it though is minimizing trauma while triggering a huge reaction out of the plant, right? We don't actually want to torture the plant or fuck the plant up, but we want it to think it's happening. So then it'll trike out more. But that's the concept behind that one. Tony Clifton, what week of flower? Once you start having trike show up on your plant, you can start using it. So I'd say roughly weeks 2 or 3. You can start using it. Mid-flower, start stepping it up. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, you can really go hardcore. I would say realistically, you don't really need to do more than a 1 week application, like an application a week, maybe 2. But even, yeah, don't go too heavy on it. Like, it's like one of those things where you don't need to do it like every day. Give it some time for the plant to actually heal itself. Give it some time for the plant to actually adapt and utilize what you're triggering within the plant to come out and be, you know? But yeah. I hope that helps, Tony. I hope that helps. Sorry, everybody, I'm just reading. Exactly. You know, and soul price, that's one of the things we can touch base on too, is like cannabis is an astonishingly resilient plant. It's tougher than you'd think. I often think that's probably one of the reasons why it was called weed. Well, 1, it spreads fairly easily in Mother Nature, and 2, it's tougher than shit. And it requires very little to do well. So at the end of the day, you know, even if you snap a branch, if you hurt your plant, you do this, you do that, your plant can heal itself and recover quite amazingly well. It's actually quite astonishing at times when you look at what that plant is able to do. So typically what I do when I snap branches is it depends on how bad the snap is. Sometimes I'll use a bit of hemp twine, but my main thing when I do a snap is first, I wrap rolling papers around it, soak them, and then that kind of becomes a cast. If it's a severely snapped one, using a bit of rope on top of that or a little bit of wire can be quite beneficial as well in order to help keep it together, but then it will heal and come back together, right? There was even an experiment we did, I almost want to say it was on Frankenplant. Was it Frankenplant or was it one of the Afghani Kushes we did? Hard to remember, but Adam Squatch was there. I had this ring on this finger, and I accidentally clipped a branch and knocked it off with the knuckle at the stalk, and it was so bad. Like, it was like, I was like, ah! But I was like, well, if I cut myself, I've used super glue a lot over the years when I've injured myself to keep the skin together. I wonder if I could do that with weed. So I held it together and I coated it in super glue on the exterior, and it took a little bit longer to set than I was hoping, but it did eventually set, and it worked perfectly. And it was instantly basically better in a sense. It was astonishing how well that actually worked. So, I mean, some would say, well, it's going to be leaching out into the plant. I'm like, well, super glue sets so quickly that, yeah, not much is going to leach out. And the fact is that's a hell of a lot safer than a lot of people. Like, a lot of people use electrical tape and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, do you know what's leaching out of that electrical tape as long as you keep it on your plant? So that's why I'm a bigger believer of, you know, I love using my rolling papers as kind of like a cast or a paper mache, shall we say, and wrapping that around there. Yeah, right, Nicole? Pipe cleaner would work great. You know, any form of reinforcement just to kind of bring those broken parts. Like, let's say this was the stalk, right? Or here's the branch and it was fine. Here's like your node, and then it snaps off like that. You just gotta bring them back together and find a way to hold it together. And that branch, that nodal segment, it will heal itself. It is astonishing how tough cannabis can be. That's true, Tony Clifton. That is true. I've used pipe cleaners as well, Nicole. Works. Yeah, right? See, it's like, and again, you can really use whatever you have access to. I'm just not a big fan. Not a big fan of people, or like when people are like, oh, I use electrical tape, I use this, I use duct tape, I use that. I'm like, oh my God, there's so many chemicals leaching out of that shit. Don't use that one. Just avoid that one. Masking tape certainly would be safer, Eugene Dolan, than electrical tape or a duct tape, but still avoid tape. Avoid tape if you can. Not a big fan of tape. I know it's easy, like it's easier to put on, so that's why a lot of people do it, but I don't know. I'm not sold on that one personally, but yeah. Ooh, Jason Blickens. Any good books that I would suggest? I mean, a lot of the books that I would have read as a kid, or certain ideas on them are kind of outdated. But anything that was written by Ed Rosenthal, Jorge Cervantes, even though a lot of his ideas are totally outdated now, there's a lot of great still information there. So for when I was a young grower, as a young kid, reading those original versions of the Canon Bible was great. I would say, YouTube's all right, but remember, part of the reason why I came on YouTube 5 years ago was because there was a lot of crap on it and just sort of wrong ideas on things. Reading in general is great, but remember, critical thinking is important when you're reading too. Everything with a grain of salt, right? So don't, just because you read something or something's out there doesn't necessarily mean it's right. A lot of the articles in the old High Times magazines for me were really, really formative for me as a young grower. I'm self-taught. I didn't come from a weed family. I'm the son of two priests. I had to teach myself in secret, and I made a lot of mistakes for a lot of years before I started becoming quite proficient at what I do. But yeah, check out the old writings from Ed Rosenthal, Jorge Cervantes, both great places to start. Just remembering, grain of salt, there's some outdated ideas in some of those. Also just reading general books about general horticulture, about different topics, from living soils to greenhouse styles to lights. Just start reading, You can't hurt yourself by doing lots of reading. Reading and research is one of the number one things that help you be efficient and effective at starting. Yes, there's a lot of great YouTube videos. Yes, there's a lot of great information out there. There's also a lot of wrong bullshit. And I don't even claim to be perfect myself, My ideas, my philosophies, and perceptions on techniques have changed over the years as a grower. I've been doing this over 20 years now. So, the true grower is the forever student. So as long as you remember that, that's really positive. But, for physical books, definitely check out some of the old school Grow Bibles and stuff, or Canon Bibles, and those were great. But again, grain of salt there, grain of salt. But, yeah. One second here, everybody. I just got to read a little bit. What is the shipping rate to the U.S. in a Squatch light? Well, our lights are built in the U.S., Paper Scratcher. They are our partners at Soul Strip in California. Our homie Brett, he's in Cali. So, probably the most affordable shipping for anyone is Americans ordering our lights, because it is there. Sadly, since they come out of the States, even I pay duty on it when it comes into Canada. Fucking governments, right? They always want a little more. So at the end of the day, for a shipping quote on what it's going to cost to ship your light, you can send an email to sales@soulstrip.com. That'll be the fastest way to do it. But when you go and try to order the light as well, the shipping will be auto-calculated, and it'll spit out a projection on that one. We do our best to have everything built and in the post within 2 weeks of order. We do build them to order, to remember that. So it does take us a little bit of time. Plus, we are two small companies, right? So sometimes we're waiting on new parts to come in. We're usually pretty good, though, on staying on stock on everything. Sometimes we do have a bunch of rigs being built at once. So occasionally all of a sudden like 10, 20 people have bought lights all within a couple of days. And it's like, oh crap, we're playing catch up now. So sometimes that might take an extra week or two. But you know what? Hell, we're just as quick, if not quicker, than a lot of the other companies, and they're not building their shit to order. So yeah, so that's roughly the kind of the time window, and for an actual quote in terms of the shipping, you can either go to the website or send an inquiry email to sales@soulstrip.com. Say, hey, I'd like to order these Squatch lights. I want this model, or I want these two models, or blah 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 blah. What's the shipping going to look like for me? I live here, and then we'll be able to get that all done up for you. Okay, all right. I hope that answers your question, Paper Scratcher. One second here, everybody. I'm just reading. Bear with me. Yes, so Aaron Costa, remember, a plant that Hermes on its own or is Force Hermid is no different than a feminized genetic, okay? So yes. So basically, it is a survival mechanism built into cannabis. It has this wonderful ability where for the perpetuation of the species, female plants can grow male glands, but they do have female genetics within them. So even though it's a male pollen they are producing in a male gland, it's still genetically chromosomally a female, and it knocks itself up that way. Yes, they will be. Now, if it's something that hermed on its own unintentionally, that means that its babies could have a higher percentage or predisposition to being triggered into herming. That's not a given. Some people go, oh, if something hermes on you and it makes seeds, it's useless, throw it out. Well, that is just ignorant. Gorilla Glue, that's where it came from, and here, years later, it became a quintessential big ringer name for a lot of people in the industry. So just bear in mind where it came from. Daily gardening, keep your eyes on the plants. That's quintessential when dealing with seeds that came from Hermes. Okay, but that doesn't automatically mean that's what's going to happen, though. Do you know what I'm saying? So you should be okay. Oh, it didn't work, Soul Price? Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. Huh. Oh, well, Aaron Costa, it could have just been like seeds that fell out of the buds and then they decided to come up. Yeah, right. Well, Bull of the Seeds, that's the thing too. Like if someone wants a custom build or some subtle tweaks, like, Cadillac Jack ordered a bunch of custom rigs from us. He just wanted us to build them bigger. He wanted more strips on them. So we just built him custom, identical to the normal double Squatch racks. We just built them bigger with more strips in them for him. Some people want slightly longer leads on their builds. We do suggest that you don't really go past 10 feet on the leads from the driver to the fixtures on our builds, because at about 10 feet or just past 10 feet is where you're going to begin to experience voltage loss. But we build them to order because if you want us to tweak anything for you, we do offer that. It may affect the price a little bit, obviously, but we are here to serve you, empower you, and give you what you want and need. Those, remember, that's always available to everybody. So Cadillac Jack can testify to that. Hey. I feel you, typhoid. I also enjoy fried food. Maybe I enjoy fried food too much. Okay, one thing here. Excuse me. Oh, wait, I can't do that on this computer. And for those of you who may be joining, I'm just getting this link out there for those who asked at points and times. Here, I'll just type it here. One second. Excuse me. The link is following everybody. Bear with me. Hey, there we go. All right, there we go. So, good times. All right, so Electro Illuminati says, I just started training in a paper simulator on stocks instead of crypto. Already made a nice profit on shorting the US tech. Hey, Electro Illuminati, I mean, even though we are a growth channel, we won't get too much into stocks here. Uncle Potsquash, I openly engage in day trading every day. So I got money in the market as well. Hey, Johnny Karaoke, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. Have a wonderful day, brother. Much love. Keep it sexy. Hey, thank you very much, Aaron Costa. You know, I affectionately make the joke to people at home with like, you ain't seen nothing yet. You know, and we're gonna do some really funky, cool stuff coming up for everybody on the channel, and I'm really looking forward for everyone getting the chance to see that. So good times are on the horizon, my friends. It'll be a good time, a sexy time, and a real time. Like I said, for those at home who are getting frustrated about no plants, well, there's many plants. They're surrounding me right now. They're just, we haven't made any videos, but there will be. Tomorrow we will start making the video, getting the plants. That will be the first plants to go into the first round of flowering in the perpetual flowering room on the channel, getting them ready for transplant, and then also going into flower. So we'll make a video on that, and that will be the first sort of hands-on showing plants video we've really done since we shut everything down at the last lab. So that will be, I'll start shooting that tomorrow. Realistically speaking, I mean, the first part, because I don't really need to do the transplants necessarily tomorrow even. So, I mean, we could just make the video of getting them ready for transplant, not even showing the transplant. Give them a day or two to adjust to that, then do the transplant. So, hell, I guess I could even get that video up and out there for everyone there. I mean, there's quite a number of plants, so I'm not going to necessarily show everybody every single plant, but maybe I'll find a nice plant of each one of the genetics that'll be going in for the first round, and then we can incorporate that. So I'll shoot that for tomorrow, everybody. I agree, Roman Reckless. It's sad but true. But at the end of the day, that's just a function of how society and our education system works now. But you can learn about money. You can learn how it all works just by practice and doing a little reading, everybody. It's all out there. You just got to go figure it out. That's how I did weed. Bowl of Seeds says, hey man, I have a plant in veg right now. And it's growing new leaves to the point where the fingers meet the stem on a fan leaf. I'm a noob, so is this a common genetic variation? Would you know? Of course, well, I know a fair bit, and I've seen a lot of different weed from all over the world. So basically what you're saying is you've got a fan leaf. Here's your, let's say this is like your 5 blades on the fan leaf, and this is the bottom, and your stem's coming down here. You're saying you've got other leaves growing out of here. That's not necessarily the most common trait, but it is a mutation that is not unheard of. I've seen it. It's certainly more common than growing a flower at the base of your fan leaf. But again, that's another mutation. What you're seeing is it's just a genetic trait. It's a mutation from the standard deviation of things, but it's okay. Nothing to freak out about or anything like that. My humble 2 cents. Ganchanana, your mama. I'm running out of my neighbor's internet. You naughty girl, you Ganchanana. Yeah, Jose Canelo, I am on the Discord. I mean, I'm not there every day. Like I am there. Like I get all the notifications on my phone, but I am quite busy. But I do pop in there from time to time. Also, too, if you do like @Potsquash or whatever the hell I'm called on there, it does help me to notice things a bit more on the Discord there. So. Uncle Dunk, I mean, unless he's introducing artificial plant growth regulators into there, I wouldn't necessarily say that's starting from it. I would say it's definitely a genetic mutation present, because most people don't even know what a plant growth regulator is. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I would just say it's a floopy, weird genetic mutation. They're everywhere now in cannabis. The last 15 to 20 years, nothing's been really bred properly, and nobody does anything right anymore. Like for example, I got into this thing with this guy on the internet today. I think it was on Facebook, and they were talking about foxtailing. They're like, well, is foxtailing bad? I mean, yes and no. One, foxtailing very rarely happened back in the day, right? So he was saying, oh, it could be genetic though, or it could be this, could be that, and this. It's like, I'm like, dude, no, it is genetic, but not in the way that you're thinking about it. It is a stress trigger. Foxtailing is 100% a stress trigger. Always is, always will be. How it is a genetic related stress trigger now, though, is that nobody's been breeding anything properly for the last 15 to 20 years. And the obsession with feminization of genetics in the industry has destroyed heirloom genetics. Everyone's kind of focused on the highest possible THC, and everyone's compounding feminization on feminization on feminization. This is not the way to do things, okay? We need to bring regular genetics back, affordable regular genetics back, and stable genetics. Because when we start compounding things, like the feminization was meant as a Plan Z survival mechanism of cannabis. It was never meant to be used as a colloquial regular production norm for seed. So, for the last 15 or 20 years, this has been compounding on itself. And now we've got things that, like, you fart on it wrong at Foxtails. And at the end of the day, Foxtail is 100% a stress-based trigger. That is what the plant is doing. And it functions genetically from improper genetics or fragile genetics that are a lot more sensitive than they used to be. It's improper breeding practices, 100%. That's what caused it. And then I got into this argument with going, man raised sativas at Foxtail all the time. No, they don't, Dinkle Nuts. I have those. I've grown a lot of them over the last 20 years. They didn't used to do that. Back in the day, you'd get the occasional foxtail, right? But you look at High Times now, everything's foxtailing now. And it's like, it's just disgusting. Does a foxtail affect the cannabinoid levels of the potency of your weed? No, it does not. However, it will directly affect your yield, aka reduce it. Plus, at the end of the day, if you're wanting to be a producer, you want to get into the game, you want to get into the business, produce the highest quality quadruple A bud that you can, nothing that's foxtailed is a quad. Bud shape, flower structure, bud structure is a very important variable in terms of producing the highest quality cannabis. Is that pretentious? Is that, yes? Of course it is. But you know what? We don't get good at what we do and go to Cannabis Cups and compete with each other because we're trying to grow good bud. We're trying to grow the best bud that we can, and foxtailing is a stress trigger. It is a sign of fragile genetics that easily are stressed out. And to me, in my humble 2 cents as a connoisseur, and as a breeder, and as a grower who's fairly qualified in my humble 2 cents, these aren't desirable traits and desirable things to see. I'll also share a fun fact. I'll tell you how you can fix a lot of foxtails. Wait, what? Everyone's like, wait, what? It is possible to reverse the stress in one fun way. So, for example, a strain that I really quite like is called Violator Kush, but it's notorious for foxtailing. Like, Violator Kush foxtails in ways that it's just truly proves the name. If you run those plants in a sealed environment with an extremely highly elevated CO2 environment. We're not talking you've got a little bit of CO2 injection in your grow. We're talking it's sealed. You're pumping CO2 in that bitch. You are running augmented high CO2 controlled environment. It won't foxtail on you. True fact. Go do it. I've done it on small scales. I've done it on large scales. And it fucking fixes it for at least 8 or 9 times out of 10. It either will completely fix it or hugely reduce the foxtailing factor on these newer genetics that are prone to that. Again, the amount of CO2 that needs to be run in the environment to achieve this, though, can be extremely dangerous. So please be careful and don't just go grabbing a big giant tank of CO2 and hooking it up to your grow and thinking you'll be fine. Also, too, remember, CO2 is heavier than air. It will sink to the floor. If you have pets, small children, this is not good. Okay, so just remember that, everybody at home. But that is actually a tried, tested, and true way for you to either minimize foxtailing or stop it in its tracks before you go into your flower. You have to run that from the get-go when you go into flower, though. Okay, to stop the foxtailing ability of certain strains. If you start introducing it into mid early to mid flower, then you'll reduce it. By the time you're at mid to later flower, I mean, it's pointless. There's, you're going to increase density a little bit and increase your yield a little bit. But if you really wanted to effectively address the fragile genetics that are prone to foxtailing now, you have to run that from day one. So sincerely, to the idiot I was arguing with on the Facebook, you're wrong, dum-dum. I didn't even say that publicly, though. And I'm not naming who it is, so it's okay. I'm just sharing my personal ranty story from today of something that irritated me a little bit. I hate when people because I'm a pretty humble, quiet guy when it comes to stuff, especially online when it comes to stuff. I don't really get into arguments with people about stuff, no point. But certain things irritate me, and one of my biggest pet peeves in our industry is people spreading misinformation and shit that's just wrong. And watching this guy walking around like he knows exactly what he's talking about and misinforming people, that kind of shit. When you misinform people and you propagate the wrong type of information, aka incorrect information in the grow community, that's something that pisses me off. That's actually kind of the whole reason why this Posquatch is even a thing, why we're even here, why I do what I do. Well, I do what I do for a lot of reasons now. But the original reason why we started this channel and why I started, drinking a beer and yelling at the internet was because of misinformation and people spreading the wrong ideas and the wrong information in terms of growing cannabis. At the end of the day, always keep an open mind, right? Always be a forever student. Keep an open mind, right? But at the same time, grain of salt. Do some research. It is your best friend when it comes to being a grower. But yeah, that's just the way she goes, man. One second here, everybody. Just TNB. What do you mean by TNB? Forgive me for not following. What's up, Buzz Killington? Native Nugs cannabis cultivation. The real question is where to find a strain that is not a polyhybrid. At the end of the day, when it comes to sort of, speaking about hybrids and speaking about special realities, etc., 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 you got to remember too, the whole special reality of cannabis in general, and us starting to sort of address and look at things and etc., etc., that's a fairly new concept when it comes to weed. We started talking that way in terms of special realities and identifying things decades ago, maybe like 40, 50 years ago, when we first started kind of, talking about Sensimilla without seed, etc., etc. So really, can you even find something that's a straight singular species reality? Yeah, in theory, I guess you could, but one could even argue, are the species even real? I personally say yes, they are. But it's just a loaded thing, right? So, at the end of the day, will we ever be able to truly find one? Who knows? But at the end of the day, just love your weed, observe your weed, get to know your weed. And if we really want to start creating some really stark, specially based genetics, that's going to fall on us as growers and breeders to actually pay attention for once what we're doing and taking the years that it takes to make a strain. Just because you cross one plant with another plant does not mean you've now created a strain. You've done step one in a long journey of creating your own strain or strains from said crossing. And also looking very hard for those right phenos that are even worth breeding with. That's a big part of it too. So it takes a very long time to genuinely create a strain, everybody. It's not something you just quickly do. It is years-long work just to even make the initial version of it. You got to pheno hunt and find those magical singular phenos that are worth even working with. And then you've got to selectively pheno hunt for generations after that to properly create a strain. I think that's the true bare minimum of quadding or cubing, which means a minimum of 4 generations, has been something that has been lost on a lot of people who call themselves breeders. Nobody does that anymore. Well, no, some people do. I still try to do it. It takes time. Gazer still doesn't. A lot of the other older breeders that I know still do it. But a lot of people in the game now don't even understand what that means, or really sort of the intimate nuances of it, right? So, and it's a sad thing, because really, if we're not careful, we're going to lose genetics and proper genetics forever. And then our great grandkids won't even know what real weed is. So, I mean, it's on us, the growers, it's on us, the breeders, to really educate ourselves and take the time and the patience that's required to produce proper marijuana for the future races of our people, the future generations, the futures of us, And it's good, But anyway, that's just my humble 2 cents. Welcome back, Johnny Karaoke. Electro Illuminati says it's like the little tomatoes in the past they used to throw away and destroy the genetics, and these days they're getting sold at a premium as cherry tomatoes. Yeah, right? I mean, cool comparison. Yeah, valid comparison for sure. Well, and and remember, bowl of seeds too. What makes a desirable pheno? Well, I could tell you what is desirable to me, but the old saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder? Well, pheno is in the eye of the breeder, right? And that's where it's both a science and an art form and an artisanship, really. And every breeder's a little different in how we view things and what we think is special, or what's the important traits for us to, work on. Like, let's say we take a Gen 1 or F1 cross, right? And then so you take some and I take some, and then we go do a cubing on it, right? And we each go with our own styles and our own views on it. By the time we come back at least 4 generations different, they may be completely different strains now. It's all about the eye of the breeder, right? And so that's the thing. What? Oh, okay. You're addressing a Discord thing. Cool. Cool soul price. Sounds good. I thought you were saying, sorry for the inconvenience to me, and I was like, what do you mean, soul price? I don't understand what you're saying. Yes, so Hard Knocks, having a good breeding buck male is 100% just as important as a good mother. I mean, again, remember, it's just like people, right? We get attributes from both sides of our parentage. And, if you want to breed effective basketball players, let's say, having a tall mom and a tall dad with good reflexes who are fast and can jump really high with also really good hand-eye coordination for shooting, well, fuck, that's a pretty good place to start to making some really good basketball players, right? It's basically that kind of ideology when it comes to breeding cannabis. It is basic eugenics, right? Like, that's what we're talking about. So it totally is. Yeah, the father is very important, just as much as the mother, for sure. So totally Hard Knocks. Beauty is definitely in the eye of the beer. Oh, Native Doug's cannabis cultivation. I love it. Pound that shit, my friend. Pound that shit. That's funny. You make me laugh, my friend. What's up, Christopher Mortimer? How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. And that's cool, Electro Illuminati. The big thing for me, though, is this obsession with THC saturation content as being the predominant variable to breeding is part of why genetics are so fucked now. There's 468 plus psychoactive cannabinoids and chemicals in cannabis. It's not just about the THC. And that's one of those things where, am I a curmudgeon? Do I have my own opinions on things? Yeah, I do. But that's one of the things I also think that is wrong with the industry right now. I think it's wrong with the way many are breeding cannabis and trying to grow cannabis. It's like this, we're always trying to get the strongest, highest level of THC that we can get. I'm like, oh, fuck off. I got shit that only has 18% THC and 22% CBD, and I'll knock you on your ass more than a 35. So it's not just about that. And that's a big truth in my humble 2 cents. Is just the way to go. But again, my humble 2 cents. And as I always will share with all of you at home, there's 1,001 highways to the same destination. Part of being a grower, part of creativity, part of having your own style and developing your own shit is taking these decisions and having your own style, right? Like, I mean, just because I do something one way doesn't mean necessarily that if you do it another way is wrong, right? I mean, in my humble 2 cents, there are some things that are just wrong when it comes to cannabis, but rarely do I put my foot down on certain things. Yeah, so just, you know, have fun with it, develop your own style, but just keep an open mind, keep educating yourself, keep reading, you know, and have fun. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of us have forgotten about when it comes to growing and breeding, even if we're doing it for a company or a business, is it's meant to be fun, right? What we put into the weed is also such a big important component of the energy, the environment, you know, our love, right? That TLC, you know, and I believe that that is just as important as anything else. You know, like I've had a lot of people replicate everything I do with a grow, and they can't produce the weed that I can. And a big part of that, I think, is just sort of the more quote unquote holistic side, that energy, that tender loving care. Like, I hang out with my plants. We watch movies together. You know, we listen to music together, right? Hell, sometimes I'll voice them. The wife comes down, she'll play her ukulele for them. You know, they're living creatures, and I treat them as such. And I'm a big believer in that, right? So, you know, keep an open mind, keep it diverse, right? It's both sides. It's also holistic. It's also an art form and an artisanship. All these variables are part of being the best grower that you can be. So, you know, don't be afraid. Make educated, stupid decisions. Have some fun. Get out there, experiment, teach yourself, figure something else out for yourself too. You know, go, you know, someone says XYZ does this, well, go try it. See if it's true, right? Don't just take people on their word on shit blindly all the time. And just go for it. You know, that's part of the fun. That's how I started doing it, and that's how I continue to do it, right? So, you know, hashtag boom. Love your plants, baby. Oh, well, my friends, I gotta go play with paint and get that flower room ready so people can stop freaking out that we're not growing, because we are, and they want to see it. So, my friends, my family, my pot squatches, thank you for tuning in to another live stream show. We are slowly but surely learning how all this new streaming crap works and the new equipment, etc. And like I said, we'll start releasing actual videos on what we're doing with plants very soon. And, you know, at the end of the day, thank you for those of you who stuck with us in this weird time where we were down and not really doing our stuff. And we were in transition. We were in a metamorphosis. And we're just coming out of our cocoon now. The hairiest butterfly you ever did see. We're coming. It's going to be okay. And thank you, everybody, just for sticking with us. And just get ready for a good ride. You ain't seen nothing yet. You're about to see a lot of crazy, wonderful things that you've never seen before on the channel. You know, and I think that's rather appropriate because we're actually approaching our 5-year anniversary, our half a decade anniversary on YouTube. August 10th this year, we will be celebrating our half a decade anniversary on YouTube. So it's been a wild ride so far. Here's to the next 5 years, and then the next 10, and the next 20. Rock and roll, motherfuckers. Keep it real, keep it squatchy, keep it sexy. And remember, the true grower is the forever student. The true grower makes educated, stupid decisions. The true grower is not afraid to take risks. When we make mistakes, don't beat yourself up. We learn more from our mistakes than we do from our successes. All right? You learn more from a bad book than you do from a good book. Or good movie, bad movie, vice versa. You see what I'm saying? It's okay to beat yourself up a little bit, but don't beat yourself up too hard. Learn from it and carry on, motherfucker. I love you, everybody. We are all the Pot Squatch Growers Army. We are all Pot Squatches. We are the Grow Your Own movement. We are slowly taking over the world, and we will continue to do so. We have started the Canadian Craft Cannabis Growers Coalition to stand against the government and create an all-inclusive industry. Send us an email. Membership is open now. First member right here. Right now it's an army of one, but we're going to work together and stand together here in Canada and really build an industry that we want. And just know I love all of you, and I think of you regularly. Keep it real. Keep it sexy. I'll see you next time, motherfuckers. Peace.